Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Mogul Live. I'm James Pratt. Thrilled to have you here as we just wait for our guest here today. Rob Pryor, very, very accomplished concept artist, director. He's really exciting, obviously, to talk about from the film side, but also the really fine things that we've got coming in with Mogul NFT event coming up starting on the 22nd. But your chance as well, once we get Rob into the chat, to be able to ask him art, Mogul NFTs, upcoming films, Stan Lee, Nightly Crypto, good to see you back here in the chat. G Baxter, great to see you here as well. Once upon a time, great to see you guys all in the chat. We're just trying to connect our guest here today, Rob Pryor. But in the meantime, yeah, sure, would love to ask a question. I'm happy to take any questions just as we wait for Rob to come in. Again, if anyone wants to jump in and have a chat with me just while we wait for Rob to come into the chat, we can talk anything you like. Hollywood NFTs, just as we wait for Rob to come back in. And keeping in mind as well, this is where for you guys as well to learn a little bit about Mogul, some of the films that we've got coming up, and obviously just learning a little bit about the landscape in Hollywood and NFTs as well. So what we can do, let's see if we can get Rob in. Otherwise, happy to have a chat with a couple of people just while we wait for Rob to come into the chat and to get things moving. Nightly Crypto as well. Good to see you putting some questions in already. So let's just see how we go. Otherwise, we've got Garrett's. Great to see Garrett's. Possibly we can have a chat with him just while we wait for Rob to come in. Again, what we're going to do, we'll give it 30 more seconds. And if Rob hasn't jumped in the chat, Garrett, I'm going to jump in you to have a quick chat. We can have a chat for a couple of minutes. Let's talk NFTs, Mogul. But guys, as well, anything that you guys want to have a chat about, we can do as well. Again, if anyone has seen Rob Pryor, let's see whether we can get him into the chat in the next couple of minutes. Again, keeping in mind, you can ask any questions you like just as we go here. And as well as that, we're just putting out a bit of a search signal for Rob Pryor to jump into the chat with us here today. Otherwise, Garrett, I might just jump you in the chat. If you want to have a quick chat, just see if we can just a little bit of a chat going just while we're waiting for Rob to jump into the chat.
All right.
Garrett, good to have you.
Hey, good to meet you, man. Listen, I recently came across your guys' page, and being a film producer, an advocate for NFTs and cryptocurrency in general, I was thinking to myself recently when I was watching actually Gary Vee talk about how artists are not going to be able to, they don't need to use record labels anymore. And being a producer, I'm like, hey, maybe I don't need to use the studio for principal financing anymore. And I was thinking about actually doing film financing through an NFT collection and having the utility be fractionalized royalties given out to the owners of the NFT. And so that way I don't have to actually finance my film through a studio, but I can just finance it through an NFT collection. So I thought that was interesting, but I talked to a lot of people about it, and they actually said, Garrett, be careful, because everything is so up in the air in terms of the legalities of this.
Yeah.
And,
hey, Garrett.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, buddy. We'll circle back. Rob, our guest, is here.
Go ahead.
We got to circle back to Rob. But what I'm going to do is let's pick up the conversation. And I was going to say thanks for filling in for Rob while we waited for him too.
That's okay, man. That's okay. Enjoy the conversation. All right.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Garrett.
All right. Yeah. Peace.
All right, guys, we had Garrett there filling in. We're going to pick up Rob. It's great to see you.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Good. We had Garrett just filling in before you jumped on the chat before. So it was almost like, you had one of those plays where you had the warm-up act, and then we had the main guest.
I love it. Yeah, sorry, my technological skill is, iffy at best.
No, it's good. It's good. I wanted to remind everybody that's in the chat at the moment. Great number of people in the chat too. Last time I was speaking to you, you just made a record sale with the Mogul Proof of Concept event.
I did. It was such an awesome event. It was quite cathartic as well because I got to burn my painting.
Well, for anyone that's just joined, David Lipper's just joined in the chat. Great to see you, David, as always. 180. You go, Rob.
just saying hi to everybody.
Yeah. 182,000 that NFT sold for. And this is earlier this year, guys. You can, anyone in the chat who wants to have a look, Rob Pryor's artwork, burnt it at the end, and 182,000. I mean, that's a great NFT event. I mean, how have you found since then the NFT run in Hollywood and what people are saying about NFTs?
I mean, look, NFTs are the future, right? Because while in the very beginning, everybody was doing NFTs, for this and for that, but really what NFTs have done, they've opened up a door for artists in general, all the way down the line. Some artists who would never get seen in the old traditions are now having a chance to get seen. And I think it's fantastic because, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. I mean, we haven't had a change in the art movement really since Warhol. It wasn't a big art change at that. This is a whole new thing and a whole new platform for artists to be able to show their stuff.
Did you get a lot of people reaching out to you after that Mogul event, just saying, "Hey, how do I do this as well?" What was the reaction from the artist community?
Oh my God, absolutely, and I still do. So many people literally are just going, how do I do this? What do I do? And I tell everybody, I was like, first embrace the technology. Look at NFTs. In fact, this week I'll be buying my first NFTs. And I'm going to do it quickly. So I'm going to start asking, people on Instagram, so give me some advice, show me, some possible NFTs to buy.
Yeah. Well, in the chat, if anyone wants to chip in with what Rob's plans are coming up, Nightly Crypto just mentioned if they reach out, tell them only work with Mogul with NFTs.
Awesome.
What I sort of found is really interesting too is when you're talking about the artists suddenly jumping on the NFT side, is talking to filmmakers who have, say, a short film that just kind of didn't do anything. Like they made it, they showed it to some people, or it had a festival run, and that's it. Kind of with the artist side, NFTs are opening up a whole new door. You can actually sell that short film as an NFT. There's so many new options now you can do.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing is it's opening the doors for artists, but it's also opening the doors for film, for everything. It's like the arts in general, in my eyes, it's broadening all the horizons of that. And I think it's just been absolutely amazing. And, and for film, what you guys are doing, what Mogul is doing, I think is legendary.
Yeah, I've got to be honest with you. When you talk to different people between now and say the beginning of the year, NFTs originally, like the beginning of the year, a lot of people glazed eye over them. Like you're talking NFTs, it's like a foreign language. Now, same person, you mention NFTs, and they're all just on the bandwagon. They're basically like, I get it. It can help me. I'm really pushing it. And it's just moving very quickly, I feel.
Yeah, no, it is. And, well, I keep seeing comments popping up.
Yeah, I'm looking at the same ones.
Wait a minute. Look, when it comes right down to it, I think NFTs are the future. And look, it's the Wild West right now, and things will start coming to a point where it'll probably get a little bit more regulated. It'll probably go one way or another, but for right now, I really think this is the future. I think this is the way to go. Like I said, my biggest thing is it's giving artists a chance to be seen and heard. And I think that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, we've got you here. Some really exciting things coming up with Mogul. First question I just want to kind of ask though is, I mean, right now, what are you working on this week?
Well, this week is all about promotions, all the way up to 27th. Minus art that I'm doing just for my own sanity. It's all about promotions and talking to people. And really, it's more, when I say promotions, I really should just say it's more about talking to people. Yeah, I mean, we're promoting, the stand thing, but the stand paintings to me are, I mean, they're very near and dear to my heart because, you know, they were of a legend, of a friend, and of somebody who was just an amazing human being in general, besides the worlds he created, you know?
And what, I mean, talking about Stan Lee and that sort of relationship, for anyone that's just jumped in the chat, more and more people are coming in. Rob Pryor, we're talking to. What was your first interaction with Stan Lee? How did that come about?
Oh my God. Well, you know, it's funny because I've been asked that a lot lately. And my first interaction was actually in the 90s. And, you know, I was just a fanboy. I was already working in the industries, and, you know, whether it would be gaming and or, you know, comic books and all of that. So I was working in the industry. So I saw Stan and I sort of like ran up to him and I was like, "Hey, Mr. Lee." And, you know, he took the time to talk to me, you know, out of, you know, the thousands and thousands of people that were like, um, yes, you could FaceTime me.
Yeah, I saw that question too. Yeah.
But time to talk to me. And I had run into him for years. And I'll tell you the truth. Every time he pretended he remembered my name beautifully. It was masterful. It really was. And then, I got to see him more and more. And I got asked to paint at his handprint ceremony in Hollywood.
Okay.
And that was, many, many, many years later. But he recognized me. He knew what I did. He knew my paintings. He didn't know my name, but he knew my paintings, which is way better for me. And then we just sort of, rekindled after all these years. And he goes, "I've been watching it for years." And, and then after the handprint ceremony, I painted, I don't know, pretty much every talk he gave after that. I was the opening act, and honored to be so.
And what was his personality like when you're working with him? Was he all about the work? Was he kind of still there to have a good time? I mean, how would you describe that relationship?
You know, what's funny is it was never really work to him. From my perspective, it was never really work for him. And I know when he went home, he had his own thing. And anytime you're with a bunch of fans or a bunch of, people, you have to decompress. So there is that. But creating was his life, and he knew his fans, and he knew all about that, and he loved it. He absolutely loved, he loved the making of things. And that's why, with NFTs, man, Brian, what's up, buddy? I'm reading. But he would have moved into the NFT world without a shadow of a doubt. He loved innovation. And again, being the creator he was, I think it's important to remember that's who he was. Everything you saw was exactly who he was.
Yeah. Well, I think the really exciting thing is, and for anyone that's kind of just joined or not sure what we're sort of alluding to, on the 27th of this month, so next week, Rob, can you talk a little bit about the collection you've got with Mogul?
Absolutely. It's the first 5 of the collection that's going up, and it's got one of my favorite ones in it, by the way. And it was actually Stan's favorite character, was Silver Surfer. And it's Silver Surfer number 4 versus Thor. And it was so fun to paint because Stan didn't want to be Thor and he didn't want to be the Silver Surfer. So I had to figure out, where was I going to put him? So I made him sort of this over face in the background that was watching over everything. And I see that it is the first 10, but we're dropping the first 5 this week. I'm talking
Nightly Crypto. You're on it. Yeah, Nightly Crypto is on it. Yeah.
And yeah, I know, dude, awesome. And with the rest of the collection, another one of my favorites is Hulk 181, which is the first appearance of Wolverine. And that painting, by the way, is giant. It's 8 foot tall by 5.5 foot wide. Just massive. I mean, all of them are big. Even the small ones and ones that I say are small are still like almost 3 foot by 4 foot. So,
yeah.
And
Well, I'll quickly run through a couple of comments. Got a great comment just then from Daryl's girl Suzanne. Rob shows helped me through COVID.
so I do a live Instagram every Wednesday, which I got to tell you, it started out all about painting, and then it sort of like degraded into just silliness. So it's me and two of my apprentices, one of them being my son, and we just go live every Wednesday. We talk about things, we joke, I paint, and it's just silly. I mean, it's just something silly, but it's
Well,
fun.
it's definitely worked. I mean, the fans that you've got here are great. Quick question came in too, which I think is a really important question that came in. What is your favorite liquor to drink when you're painting?
Oh, isn't that always the question? Sake, sake is my absolute favorite thing to drink in the world. It's one of those. That's my favorite. That and sangria, but really sake is my number one.
With kind of like today, we've got you outside. Is there anything you'd like to show off as we're having a chat with you, or this is kind of like this is a nice backdrop as it is?
I was just gonna say this is. I was home sick for the past couple of days, so I'm not at my studio. I was hoping to do this at the studio, and I could have showed you around a little bit, but I'm maintaining all of my strength for this upcoming week. So but what I'll do is I don't even know if there are ways to share on this thing.
There used to be a way to share. I think they've honed in a bit and said you just have to keep it to video. You can't throw in the extra videos if there's 2 to 2.
Bastards.
But
So I would gladly show stuff off, but unfortunately now you get my.
they want to keep it. They want to keep it back to video. A great question that I've sort of found a lot of people are asking is, from your side of things, how are the studios approaching NFTs, or how do you find that the actual filmmaking, the people behind them, again, Warner Brothers, DC, all of these, how are they approaching NFTs right now?
Well, I mean, if you're talking if you're talking film studios, everybody's racking their brain right now. And I just got done. I literally painted in Times Square. Was it last week or the week before? Oh my God, time means nothing to me at the moment. But in NFT movie, which I can't really talk about much to say, I painted live in Times Square and they filmed me.
That's
But
fantastic.
I was. I think that the film studios are all trying to figure out, how to do this, how to make it, viable for them, and all of that. As for NFTs in the world, I know that Marvel has been doing these comic drops that I've been hearing about, and I know I got to go look them up with all my copious time. And I know that they're getting into the NFT game by giving you like surprise drops. So you buy a comic, then you get a surprise, like maybe the golden ticket of something really special. And, it's amazing to watch this all unfold because, I remember everybody saying, oh, NFTs are going to go away. Dude, they're here to stay. So I think all the big studios are just looking for their ways to get in and get involved.
Yeah, and I think that's the overall theme that I could really hear as well, which is, they're here to stay, and it's people are looking at this adds benefit to whatever I'm doing. In the creative industry, you mentioned, earlier, the music side, the film side, for artists to get their work out there, which is really exciting as well. Really exciting.
No, I absolutely agree. And I keep seeing somebody pop up with all of the legal stuff. So I'm just going to address it. So
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. I feel like this is a chat with Rob Pryor and the artwork. And again, record-breaking NFT event that we had earlier. We're going on from that.
Absolutely. What I'll say to G Backstrom is, yeah, there are things coming, but that's approach that later on. Let's talk about what's here and what's now. And as for things being regulated, absolutely. I'm sure, as with everything, within time, government gets involved, everybody gets involved. That's going to happen. But we're not here to talk about that right now. We're here to talk about art. And that's what to me, that's what this is about. It's about art and NFTs. And we'll handle all of that later on. But let's not do anything about that right now, because everybody would rather talk about art and all of the good things that are coming. And to talk about all the legal and all of that, let's hold that off for a later discussion about when we do a show about legal. So we'll do
I
that.
think yeah, I'm sold. I'm sold on that. A great question come in from some of us. Always here to see you in the chats as well. Any new artists you recommend to track right now?
NFT artists or just artists in general?
That's a good question. We can get clarification on that one as well. In the meantime, I wanted to quickly, while we've got you here as well, ask you a little bit about your time and the rest of the year. Obviously, like working very closely with Mogul on some really exciting projects. Is there anything coming up as well that you're working on the side of that too?
Always. Again, on certain things, I can only say so much, but I am officially working on my next movie. Actually, my next two. We're at different spots on both. Both are moving forward at like record pace, which keeps me on my toes. So I'm doing that. I've got some gallery show stuff that'll be coming up, and I've got all kinds of things. I know Mogul and I are working on a whole bunch of other stuff, and I'm doing an NFT in the sports realm with Canelo Alvarez.
Fantastic. What and I asked you a little bit about this last time. Painted Beauty as well.
Yes.
Directing. Any update there with that as well?
They are so. The movie itself is finally, producers argue and it kills all the fun. Finally, there's no producers arguing and it's going out. It looks like it's going to hit festivals. And I'm excited because I'm excited for people to see what it is I can do, not just in the art world, but in the directing world.
Yeah, and I think David Lipper, who's in the chat right now, he was in your movie.
Absolutely. He was a major part in my movie, actually.
That's fantastic.
It was
Somos has come back to us, and he's actually said either any artist NFT or just general artists that you think we should look out for.
Wow. Okay, so without necessarily naming any names just now, I think that there's just a ton of artists that are coming up. But what I like is a lot of the older artists, the older comic book artists, are now starting to get into it so they can get their work seen. So a lot of the people who are working on comics in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, Rob Liefeld, McFarlane, all of those guys are moving into the NFT world as well. And, as in for upcoming artists, there's a bunch to watch. And I'll name a couple, from my studio, just to name a few. But, you've got Naomi Griffin, Scott Haddix, Nuri. I can't pronounce his last name, so I call him Nurner. But these are all people to watch because they're starting to produce NFTs as well. And God, there's so many. That question blows my mind because I have note cards going through my head.
Yeah.
And, Rob Crittenden is on. I just thought
is a face doc who's just done a really nice Painted Beauty trailer. Rocks. My best buddy.
Yeah, he's been fortunate enough to be able to see the trailer, which I am dying for the world to see. I'm absolutely dying for the world to see.
Are you going to do any NFTs with that particular film as well?
I don't know if I'm going to be doing NFTs with that film. It's possible. It's always possible. By the way, if you see me turning, I'm turning so we're not in the blazing sun.
And I think it looks delightful. Los Angeles afternoon.
It is. It's fantastic. And if I go inside, I have 2 7-year-old twins, which will not leave me alone which is awesome, by the way, and I absolutely love it. But probably not when I'm doing this.
It'll be a different interview. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just saw Night Crypto. I did see that somebody is selling that for that kind of money, and good for them. I mean, I'm honored to be a part of that. You know, I'm just absolutely honored. But for Painted Beauty, yeah, I would like to. So it's sort of up to producers. I will say this: for my next movie, we're going NFT strong. We are. There'll be a bunch of original designs and all kinds of things that we want to release as NFTs. So that's something that Mogul and I are going to be talking about, whether they want to or not.
I'd love to get your perspective, and I think Mogul would. They're seconding that conversation. So I think it's a great thing for some of the people in the chat, and a lot of people watch these interviews after that. Indie filmmakers, so those that are not kind of going through the studio system. What would you say is a way that that someone can utilize NFTs in their first feature film?
Well, look, I mean, there's a bunch of ways you can do it, but let's just go for the base one. Earning money for the film itself. Doing NFTs based upon that, and everybody's going to come up with 100 million ideas on how to do it. But I really think, that funding it, and not only that, but getting eyeballs on it, because if you're doing it as an NFT and it's getting out there, more and more eyeballs are catching it, and ones that you wouldn't necessarily get. So it's a way, in some ways, it's a way to fill the seats in the theaters before you've even started your film, if you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and I'll second that as well. I mean, the idea of, like you said, opening doors that weren't there before, doing an NFT on the film's poster, or, as David Lipper. You go, Rob.
No, and that is it. That's, being able to do it on the poster, but not even that, but think about it. If you do an extra little tag in the movie, like film an extra little tag in the movie that won't be actually cut into the movie, but can be a little chunk that is a part of the story, all of a sudden somebody's got insight. And whether you do a 1 of 1 or whether you do a 1 of 100, those people have insight that they can or may not have to share. And it's kind of this, I love the terminology of golden ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, circling back to that, obviously the NFTs we've got coming up with yourself and Mogul, really exciting next week. But also just a couple more questions for you guys. If you want to ask Rob, NFTs, Mogul, films he's worked on, Stanley, anything you like. I know there was a couple of people putting forward their resumes. Just letting you know, Rob, that Voltaire, I'm a dolly grip for hire. Let's make a movie.
I love it.
Daryl's Gills. Yeah.
I love it. And that's the thing, always ask, because if you don't ask, you don't get. And it's always good. Put your stuff out there, what you're, whatever you want to do, whether it be a production assistant, whether it be grip, lighting, anything, it doesn't matter. Always ask, because that's the only way. Here, I'm going to stand out of the sun for a second. That's the only way. That wasn't helping.
No, that's good. That's good.
The LA sun. But to ask is really the only way to get anything done and to move forward. And I love it. And it's, again, this all brings us closer, right? All this technology, I may never have seen anybody asking to be a grip without all of this. Yeah. So I think that's what it does for us, is it brings us closer and hopefully friendlier.
Yeah. I mean, I think that everything you said just summed up in a really nice comment from FaceDoc 18. What you see is what you get with Rob. Known him for 40 years, real dude. And Daryl's girl Susie, truth. I wanted to kind of just lean a little bit as well for anyone that's kind of jumping in the chat now or suddenly comes in. What is the ways you can get involved in what you're doing with Mogul starting on the 27th?
Well, first, I mean, go to the website, look at everything, and just join us, be with us, comment, help spread the word, and when I say help spread the word, it's not because, we're going, please God help us. It's because I would love everybody to see the last project Stan ever worked on. I mean, that's my dream, and that's my hope. So tweet about it, call people, send carrier pigeons, smoke signals, whatever it takes. Let's just get the word out there for nothing, even if nothing more, just to look at the paintings and go, you know what, 5+ years in the making. I think this is the thing to do.
I
So
think so too, and I think if anyone's kind of thinking, well, where does this sort of go? I think just go back, 6 months ago when we did the proof of origin event with Mogul, and just look at how much has changed as well between then and now. Your stuff is the real deal, Rob. I got to say, I'm a huge fan. I have a funny story though. I have a friend of mine, and she's been over in Switzerland for the last 2 years. Haven't spoken to her for a long time. Lots to catch up on. And the first thing she says to me is not, "Hey, how are you going?" It's, "I just saw that you're speaking to Rob Pryor. I love his stuff." So you've got fans over in Switzerland.
well, give her a virtual hug for me and tell her I said hello.
I will.
Uh,
I will. Quick question as well. What would you say is your best advice for anyone in Hollywood right now, as a filmmaker, from everything you've seen, because you've worked with some pretty amazing people? This is more based for those in the film industry. It's just some advice.
Tenacity, absolutely tenacity. The problem is most so many talented people out there will send their resume, or they'll try and get on things and all of that, and they'll get rejected. And listen to me, you might get rejected 1,000 times, but that 1,001st time might be the job that you've always wanted. So you've got to stay with it. And if you're really trying to get in the film industry and are having any problems, then start at the bottom, and don't be afraid to start at the bottom, and don't be afraid to fail, right? Because so many people, for instance, won't ask questions in a group chat or a live audience because they don't want to feel like their question was stupid. But there is no such thing as a stupid question, right? So it's the same thing in the film industry. Start at the bottom. Don't be afraid to fail, and keep trying. If you've sent 100 scripts that you've written and none of them have been seen, all it takes is one, just one. And your other 100 scripts, I guarantee, will be bought tomorrow. So you've got to stick with it. And that is that really is my best advice.
Wow, that's fantastic, Rob. Honestly, that's fantastic. And I think that applies to all different levels of what you're working in the film industry, like an artist, an actor, a director, whatever it is, right?
Absolutely. I see this question. How do you paint a painting that is taller than your head? Easy answer, step stool.
Nightly Crypto, again, great question. Guys, probably got time for 3 more questions with Rob before we let him go. So anything you want to talk about, a reminder, Mogul's NFT event on the 22nd with Rob.
Please go there and be with me, and I'm going to be watching, and towards the last little bit, I know I believe I'm going to do another live thing on the last little bit, and drinking sake.
And if anyone kind of wants to get a glimpse of Rob working, go back, watch the Proof of Origin Mogul event. But they can also tune in and watch your live show. Is that still going, Rob, every Wednesday?
Every Wednesday, minus this last Wednesday because I was sick. But trust me, I was going, I'm going to go into the studio and I'm going to do it. And my wife was like, "Oh, no, you're not. You're not moving." But thank you so much. I mean, I try and be a decent human being, but what can I say? I don't know where I'm going with that.
No, I second that. Great comment.
But I do my live every Wednesday. We'll be talking about this Wednesday especially, and it's not the 22nd; it's the 27th. So the 27th of October. I have a slight list. Hold on. 7th. Yeah, there we go. And it'll be on at mogulproductions.com. And
That's it. Nightly Crypto. Just put it in the chat for anyone that
oh, there
wants
you
to have a look. Yeah.
man, Nightly Crypto, you are rocking
He's
that.
been on today. He's been really on, right?
Oh my God, awesome. Um, but I'll be live. If anybody wants to ask me any questions, pop on my live Instagram live. Follow me, and I will warn you though, it's just plain silly. That's all it is. It's just plain.
I think that's what you need right now in the world right now, Rob. Post COVID,
Right?
silly.
Absolutely. And that's how it started. Actually, very quickly, it started because I got COVID and I was trapped in my room. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do? I'm going to talk to people about COVID. And then it turned into painting, and then it just turned into silliness.
Yes, yes. I've actually got my first question a long time, Rob. Which Nightly Crypto? Do I own an NFT? I do. And I mean, here's what I think of NFTs. I think they're just going to be momentum building, snowballing, and I think it's for everybody. You know, whether you want to invest in them or whether you've got your own projects, you can do NFTs. I'm a huge fan.
Absolutely. I hear here. Hear here. If I had a drink in my hand, I'd toast you.
Best medicine ever. Thanks, Daryl's girl, Susanna. Guys, one more question before we let Rob go. And again, really excited what we've got coming up with him. But also, it's always a pleasure to talk with you, Rob, whether it's your insight with Hollywood or just your talent. I know that we get a lot of requests to have you back. So it's always fun.
Well, my friend, I draw a mean balloon kitty.
Well, we're excited for next week as well. Again, guys, last question's up for grabs. Whoever wants to take it to ask Rob anything before we let him go.
This is getting good here.
It's no pressure on the question that comes in.
Oh no,
so,
there's
just to. Okay, well, we're just getting compliments coming through, Rob.
Well,
I'll tell you what. Look, what I was going to say is for anyone, mogulproductions.com, have a look. What we have coming up on the 27th with Rob. For anyone that wants to get an idea of a live painting being burned as an NFT, you'll get a close-up chance with Rob, but also you get a chance to see him paint, which is what it's all about. And Rob, is there anything you'd like to say just before we go?
You know, the only thing I'll say is to everybody out there is, you know, it's something that my family gets really tired of me saying, but I'm going to say it here. And I truly mean this to the bottom of my heart. You can do anything you want to do if you want to do it bad enough. It's the truth. That's
great advice. That's great. Well, Rob, it's been such a pleasure as always to have a chat with you. Can't wait for next week. Love your artwork. Our last question has come in on the very last buzzer. How do you feel about all these changes, Rob, with NFTs?
I love them. I love them because, like I said earlier, we haven't had a major change in art since Andy Warhol, and how big of a change was that really? So this is not just changing what you see, but it's changing how you see it, and I think that's an important thing for the world. Yeah, and I think it's a great thing. So, Rob, I hope you take care, buddy. It's been awesome to chat with you as always. Next week's going to be a great week. It's going to be a great week, my friend. Yeah, look forward to talking soon. Take care. All right. See you guys. Bye. Bye, guys. Bye, Rob.